The first time that the guys in the London chapter took me on a real ride from city to city to see another chapter, and I was in now, and I had to ride like the guy beside me was riding. You got no choice, right? My heart was way out of my chest, but you just do it. My name is Bob. I'm a retired member of the Outlaws Motorcycle Club in Canada, and I'm chatting with Stacks.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Stacks. I'm your host, Bill Stacks, and today I got retired 1%er Bob from Biker News Canada.
Yeah, the bandit was just finishing up his probationary period or had just gotten his full patch or something like that, right? And everything moves so fast. I can't believe how many different stories happened, and the fact that I hung around for 5 and I was a member for 5. So it was a decade.
Yeah.
Not much time, really. But, remember Bandit and I going to Montreal and like that. And then he got arrested in Montreal doing a move. And then Willie came back out from his parole violation. Me and Willie, by that time, he got back on his feet. There was another guy from our chapter who was in jail for a decade. We rented that guy's house so that the note got covered every month. He got himself a vehicle. He got himself in business. I was working at the strip joint, chip chopping all by do long day, bro. You wouldn't believe it. The stacks were coming. It was wonderful, right? So we did all that for years. And, I made enough money. I bought a house down the street from the clubhouse, and I bought my first Harley, all from spinning tunes out of a strip joint. We did okay.
Yeah. You do make a lot of money. I was just DJing in Minneapolis at a strip club.
Oh, yeah?
A couple years ago, yeah. Did it for 6 months. I made a nice chunk.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I honestly, I bought a house in a Harley for working at a strip joint. By that time, I was, whenever the girl came to the booth needing, it was like, yeah. So,
So what are some of the fun times you guys had?
Well, for me, all the fun times were when we got to get on the bikes and go for a ride. So the problem with a lot of times with being I'm talking about back then in my experience. I'm not talking about how it is now and trying to paint all clubs with the same brush because, well, number one, I don't want everyone pissed off at me. And number two, it's not what I'm trying to do, right? Yeah. I've been around long enough to know better than that. But back then, you had to spend all day on the grind and on your people and making sure your packages were coming back correct and all that you had to do, right? And then at night, after me and Hammer basically had control of the chapter, it was our rule: go home, get your supper, spend an hour or two with your old lady and your kid, and get on your bike and come find us. And we'd spend every night just racing around London with our patches on, representing, going from strip joint to strip joint. Back then, there was a strip joint on every corner. Right?
And that's London, Canada, right?
Yeah.
Because when you first said it, I was like, London? Ain't London, England?
Yeah, so all that times, the whole chapter saddled up at the same time, and you get every guy to finally be there on time, and you rolled out to another chapter for a weekend party, or it's so-and-so's birthday, or Joe's getting married, or whatever's going on, right? I always liked anything when we were on the bikes and we were moving around as a crew. I always enjoyed it.
What was it like when you would be riding with your brothers in a pack?
The best one was one time me and Bandit went over to Detroit, and they were opening a new chapter in northern Michigan. So we started in Detroit, and then we stopped at every smaller city along the way up. What would that be, I-75? Going north through Detroit? I don't know. Anyway,
I'm from the East Coast. I don't know.
So as we're going up the interstate, we're stopping off at pretty much every exit and picking up another chapter, either of Outlaws or support club members. So by the time we get up, maybe 6 stops up, I don't know, I would say there had to have been 300 bikes in this pack. And and one of my club brothers, actually Bandit and his partner, had built me this motorcycle, and it was back in the Evo days, and it wasn't anything special now, but back then it was. So they built it. The motor got built in Detroit and sent to London, and they strapped it in a bike for me, and it was running hot. It was having a hard time. And so they said to me, just go right in front of the pack so you can air that baby out. I was like, holy, because you know how it is in the biker world. The front of the pack's for the certain people.
Yeah.
And there's me and one other guy that had a 110 at the time, and he got the one side and I got the other side, and we just opened up our throttles so the bike could air out. Gave her. We're on the interstate. You know, yeah, that was the best. Is the rumble, man. Because I remember gearing down and coming off. You know, somebody signal gas, right? So you're rolling down, you're downshifting, and you're hitting the exit ramp, man. And you look back over your shoulder. What a cool thing.
And you can't even see the end, right?
Straight out of a movie, man. And you can feel it. You can feel it. Like it shakes you, man. It was the best time. Those are the times I always love.
Was there any accidents you seen during your time on the bikes?
No. And we rode like animals. That was the one thing I always thought, man, especially when the first time that the guys in the London chapter took me on a real ride from city to city to see another chapter. And I was in now. And I had to ride like the guy beside me was riding. You got no choice, right? My heart was way out of my chest, but you just do it.
Why, is it nerve-wracking the way they ride?
Oh, yeah. We'll get in behind each other 2-3 inches apart and headers 70, 80 miles an hour down the highway, splitting lanes as we're doing it. Yeah, it gets pretty hairy. But now everyone's riding the bagger. You can't ride like that. We always rode like Softails and Dynas like that, skinny little bikes, right?
Yeah.
We ripped all the turn signals and shit off them anyway. We just basically chopped them down to a tail light and headlight and go for it.
As light as you can get them, right?
Yeah. Not for any reason. It was just a style, I guess, back then. Like, we're talking the 90s. It wasn't like it was the 60s and everything was really cool. It was just the way we did it. Maybe a holdover from the 60s, right?
Did the police mess with you guys a lot?
Oh, the cops hated us. I never understood what it. I got to word this right. All these years that I used to watch things about in the States about if you're a minority, how you got profiled because of your race or your religion or whatever. Well, that happens up here to bikers. And I always thought, you know, not that because I didn't understand it because I never lived it before, right? And then you watch what these guys do to you. They're full of dirty tricks. They're full of tell you one thing and do there's nothing you can say that's right about them. They'll take all your right half of it down and take the rest home. They don't care. We had two guys that were waiting to be the next. No, one guy, sorry, that was waiting to be the next police chief of Toronto, which is the big city. And so he was waiting. So he left his family in Toronto and he rented an apartment in London and became the London police chief. Well, when he was a drug detective in Toronto, he raided one of my club brothers' houses and broke the stock of a shotgun over his head.
Wow.
So now he's our police chief, and we're getting headlines in the Sunday paper saying Fantino, that was his name. He goes, Fantino vows to rid London of all outlaws. I'm like, wait a second, I'm an outlaw. You can't do that.
Wow, so they had it out for you guys. Like they were pursuing you guys a lot.
Oh, yeah. We were, you know, if anyone's house got raided, you know, it's bug 4 ways to Sunday now.
Because they're in there and they're able to do whatever. And then they're like, all right, go back home, right? And it's nice and wired up.
I caught him. There was across the house that I owned, there was county fairgrounds were there, and there was a big parking lot. So it was off season, so it's a desolated parking lot, and it goes for ever, right? And I'm looking out my window. I see this car way, 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 way back there, but his nose is pointing at me. I know who that is. So I stuck out, went around in my car and came up behind him and laid on the horn. It was a cop with a parabolic microphone listening inside my house. Like, what the f are you doing, bro? It's Tuesday.